So again, Joe Biden versus Bernie Sanders. It's looking like the battle of the Walker riding titans. They're just going to beat each other with walkers, with tennis balls at the end of them, and then they'll run against Donald Trump, who will also be in a walker. It'll just be wildly entertaining in 2020. But Joe Biden looks like he will get the short end of the stick. He got it from Hillary last time. Now it looks like he's going to get it from Bernie Sanders. A big problem for the Democratic Party because all of the splits that pre-existed are now going to be exacerbated. Bernie Sanders is not a unifying figure. Bernie Sanders is a very divisive figure inside the Democratic Party. The Hillary wing still thinks she got jobbed. The Hillary wing still thinks she should be president. Hillary is still out there defending herself. The best thing that could happen for the Democratic Party is for Hillary to just disappear. This is why there's a concerted attempt now to do away with all of the Hillary Clinton people, right? Tom Perez, 5 minutes ago, just fired the top DNC fundraiser, claiming that basically this person was involved in the Hillary stuff. They aren't explicitly saying that, but that seems to be the implication because slow fundraising has plagued the party. Bernie Sanders is the only capable fundraiser in the party anymore, along with Nancy Pelosi. That's it. Right, so the Democrats are now going to fight an internal battle. Hillary continues to cling to her relevance, too. So you've got Biden clinging to his relevance, Hillary clinging to her relevance, and Bernie Sanders ascendant. Pretty amazing. Here's Hillary Clinton yesterday trying to explain why she didn't collude with Russia, even though she paid millions of dollars, apparently, in order to get a dossier on Donald Trump that involved getting information directly from Russian governmental sources. Okay, so she says that she's going to blame it on the FBI, but that's really not the question here. The question is, why was she paying Russian sources to obtain information on President Trump? And she's not able to shake this. The fact that she continues to be in the public eye is a disaster for Democrats. It's a disaster. It is great for President Trump, however, because President Trump needs Hillary Clinton to be out there. The reason he needs Hillary Clinton to be out there is so long as Hillary Clinton is out there, the specter of Hillary looms large, all the folks who voted for President Trump don't have to consider whether they would vote for him again, right? Because now it's the same election over and over and over, right? They can just do the same election over and over in their heads, right? If you voted for Donald Trump, it's not that he has to do a good job. All you have to do is look on the TV screen. There's Hillary Clinton, and you breathe a sigh of relief. At least we didn't get her. And this is the way people are gauging President Trump's performance at this point. Not by whether he's doing a good job, not by whether he's been successful, not where he's been successful or how he's been successful, but at least he's not that lady. So her continued presence on the national stage, the ubiquity of her mug on the television set, very, very good for President Trump. And Trump jazzes up his base when he says stuff like this. So Trump told my friend Larry O'Connor over in Washington, D.C., he told Larry that he's very frustrated he can't personally go after Hillary Clinton. The left is going nuts over this, but you know, Trump knows exactly what he's doing when he says it.
The saddest thing is that because I'm the President of the United States, I am not supposed to be involved with the Justice Department. I'm not supposed to be involved with the FBI. I'm not supposed to be doing the kind of things that I would love to be doing, and I'm very frustrated by it.
Okay, so a lot of people on the left went nuts over this. A lot of people on the left suggested that this is President Trump's dictatorial sensibility coming to the fore. He wants to prosecute Hillary Clinton. Let's be very real about this. This is Trump saying he can't do it, right? This is Trump saying he can't do it. For all of his fulminations on Twitter, what Trump is doing here is certainly no worse than what President Obama did repeatedly with the IRS, where he kept saying that it'd be great if someone would go after these 501c3s, these conservative 501c3s, and then administrators at the IRS got the picture, and they went ahead and went after the conservative 501c3s. It's very funny to watch the left, which seriously objects to what Trump is saying publicly, basically gloss over the IRS scandal and pretend that it never happened. Now, listen, I don't think that the president should be telling the FBI what to do. It does require a certain level of independence. He has power over the FBI because he has power over his DOJ, but we don't want the DOJ to simply become an arm of the White House. It was under President Obama. It's not under President Trump. This is something that even the left should acknowledge. Okay, the DOJ under President Trump is not an arm of the White House. It really has not been. Eric Holder was the guy who described himself as Barack Obama's wingman. If you want to talk about perversion of the DOJ to the uses of the White House, it was a lot worse under Obama than it was under Trump. And this is coming from someone who's very skeptical of Trump's perspective on the Constitution and the rule of law. Okay, Trump has certainly not used the DOJ as his weapon against political opponents in nearly the way that Democrats use the DOJ as a weapon on behalf of their political allies. And that is clearly true. Talk to J. Christian Adams, who's over at the DOJ during the Obama administration, and the DOJ Civil Rights Division was basically throwing out cases against the Black Panthers, even as the Black Panthers, the new Black Panthers, were wielding nightsticks outside of voting places. Right? The DOJ under Obama was much more a wing of the White House than it is under President Trump. So I don't buy a lot of the kind of left-wing outrage that Trump is trying to sick the DOJ and the FBI on Hillary Clinton. If he wanted to do it, he actually has the power to do it. But he is not doing that right now. So the left needs to just calm down. Okay. Breaking news is that Bo Bergdahl, Sergeant Bo Bergdahl, who, as you recall, was treated as a hero by the Obama administration, was actually a traitor, or at the very least a deserter He deserted his post while he was in Afghanistan. His fellow soldiers, some of whom I know and have met, some of them have told me that he was a weirdo before that. He wandered off and wandered directly into the hands of the Taliban. He says he wasn't trying to join the Taliban. Whatever he was trying to do, they ended up basically capturing him and keeping him in captivity for several years. President Obama then traded 5 Gitmo terrorists in favor of Bo Bergdahl. So the guy wandered off his post. Not only did he do that, we had to send out soldiers looking for him because it seemed like he might have been captured, right? Not that he deserted, but that he might have been captured. And 6 American soldiers were killed in the process of attempting to get the guy back, plus a military dog as well. That's according to Mark Thompson over at Time Magazine in 2014. He wrote then, chances are you haven't heard of the 6 soldiers who died hunting for Bergdahl after he went missing, according to military officials. Now that Bergdahl has been sprung, soldiers who served with Bergdahl are grumbling that he deserted and shouldn't be hailed as a hero, especially given the resulting cost in American lives. Bergdahl himself pled guilty to desertion and misbehavior in the face of the enemy. According to Politico today of the Associated Press, a military judge has found that Bo Bergdahl should serve no prison time, 0 prison time, for endangering his comrades by walking off his Afghanistan post. The judge also gave Bergdahl a dishonorable discharge, reduced his rank to private, said he must forfeit pay equal to $1,000 per month for 10 months. A $10,000 fine for getting 6 American soldiers killed because he walked off duty? Really? Okay, desertion used to be punishable by it used to be treated like treason, right? Life in prison, or you're taken in front of a firing squad. You get your fellow soldiers killed because you decide to wander off your post and join the Taliban, or at least go and hang out with them. And you don't get any prison time at all. They just bust you down to private and take away some money. According to Politico, prosecutors had sought stiff punishments because of wounds to service members who searched for Bergdahl after he disappeared in 2009. Some of those wounds are really grievous. There's a guy in a wheelchair because of Bergdahl. The defense sought to counter that evidence with testimony about Bergdahl's suffering during his 5 years as a captive of Taliban allies, his contributions to military intelligence and survival instruction, and his mental health problems. Bergdahl was 23 years old when, after 5 months in Afghanistan, he disappeared from his remote infantry post near the Pakistan border, triggering a massive search operation, and then he showed up in the hands of the Taliban. And of course, in May 2014, he was handed over to U.S. Special Forces in a swap with the Taliban. Here's what's most outrageous about this. Okay, what's most outrageous about this was pointed out by John Podhoretz over at Commentary Magazine. This is just a few days ago. The New York Times reported, quote, the judge in this case, a guy named Colonel Jeffrey Nance, said, quote, I will consider the president's comments as mitigation evidence as I arrived at an appropriate sentence. Okay, mitigation evidence. I mean, that's insane. So basically, what the defense was trying to say is they were trying to say that Trump was making statements about the case, and they talked about how Trump had made numerous statements during the nomination and in the general election about Bo Bergdahl, and the accused then pled guilty. And then he held a press conference on October 16th, 2017, and he said, I can't comment on Bo Bergdahl because I guess he's doing something today, but they're sending up sentencing, so I'm not going to comment on him, but I think people have heard my comments in the past. The defense immediately filed for dismissal, saying that Trump had biased the case beyond measure, and therefore they should release Bergdahl. The judge said, I'm not going to release Bergdahl based on that, but I will be taking this into account. Right? He said that he would take into account as mitigation evidence what Trump had said, and pretty ridiculous. Okay, so they said that essentially, he says at the end of his little ruling, he said, I will consider the president's comments as mitigation evidence as I arrive at an appropriate sentence in this case. Furthermore, I will require anyone involved in any way in the exercise of discretion and any post-trial aspect of this case to read the statement from the White House press office of 20 October 2017 before they exercise that discretion, unless the defense requests that I not issue that order, because on October 20th, there had been some statement from the White House about all of this. It was a statement regarding military justice, and it said, quote, the president, quote, expects all military personnel who are involved in any way in the military justice process to exercise their independent professional judgment. Right? And so the judge had said he wasn't going to take this into account, but he did take it into account. It looks a lot like the judge basically said, I'm not going to release Bergdahl because Trump did this, but I'll kind of release Bergdahl because Trump did this. At least that seems to be the implication here. Pretty horrifying stuff. Bergdahl, no doubt, will be treated as a hero by the left in exactly the same way that Chelsea Manning has been treated as a hero by the left. Anyone who turns against the U.S. military is treated, at least by a segment of the left, I don't say the whole left, by a segment of the more extreme left, as somebody who has done something worth celebrating. And Bo Bergdahl will, I'm sure, get a large contract from some book company in order to tell his story, while the people who were shot and wounded or killed searching for him end up, with nothing. Just insane, disgusting stuff. Okay, well, meanwhile,